Hey guys, it's me, Dr. B. So I apparently did not record an intro to this video, or maybe I did and I lost it, but here I am re-recording, or potentially just recording for the first time, the intro to this video. So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you all the books that I read in August 2023. I think I'm going to show you these in star rating progression, so from like my lowest rated to my highest rated. So as you'll see throughout, the enthusiasm does ramp up a little bit. So there were a couple of books that I didn't rate in August. One of them was a nonfiction kind of like self-help book, and the other one was more of like a poetry book, because the poetry book had a lot more of like the thoughts and like inner opinions, as well as the nonfiction self-help. Like I just didn't rate them. So these are the ones I'm going to talk about first. The poetry book is actually called Pillow Thoughts by Courtney Peppernell, and it had a bunch of really cute poems. It was split up into like if you're dreaming of someone, if you're missing someone, if you're in love. And so I want to read you one of my favorite poems. So there was one particular poem that I was quite fond of. It was actually two, but they kind of flow really nicely together. This is under the tab of if you are dreaming of someone. So it says, flowers on your doorstep. You deserve flowers on your doorstep and coffee in the morning. You deserve notes left on your dashboard and ice cream sundaes at 3 a.m. You deserve honesty every day and to be kissed every hour. You deserve to be reminded how beautiful you are. And if you let me, I'll show you every day, I promise. The next poem is, I thought about kissing you today and yesterday and the day before that. I know I'll think about kissing you tomorrow and the day after that, and some more days after those days. I think about kissing you slowly and tracing my fingers along your lips. I think about kissing you in your car, in the rain, on your doorstep. I think about kissing your dimple, your cheek, your spot. I think about kissing only you, not anyone else, just you. So I really liked those two. But yeah, the book was just okay. The poetry was just okay, but there were a couple that stood out, just like that one. But I didn't rate that one because I didn't think it was fair to rate a poetry book that was, kind of someone's inner thoughts and feelings about certain things. It wasn't just like a work of fiction. The other book that I read was a nonfiction book. It's called But You're Still So Young, How 30-Somethings Are Redefining Adulthood by Kayleen Schaefer. And this one's basically about being in your 30s and how hard it is, even like after a pandemic, to raise kids, have kids, buy a home, pay for student loans, like just the crippling amount of debt that people are experiencing and how hard it is to be in our generation. And I felt very validated reading it, but I also felt kind of sad reading it because it's very true. Like I felt a lot of the points that the author had talked about, but it didn't really feel like it had any sort of solutions. It was just kind of like, yeah, this is how it is, and this is why it's hard. So I didn't really get any resolution from that, but I enjoyed reading it. It took me maybe a couple of hours to read because it was only a 5-hour audiobook and I listened to it on double speed. So real quick and easy to get out the way. Then the lowest rated book for this month actually was a library book I checked out. I saw it as I was leaving. Misdemeanor by Eleanor Lipman. So this one followed Jane, who was she's a lawyer, and she ends up having sex on her rooftop with one of her colleagues, and the person who's like across the street from her in another building is on her balcony or whatever, and sees this and calls the police and demands that she is like penalized, essentially. So no like slap on the wrist or anything, and Jane ends up getting basically like on house arrest. She has to wear an ankle monitor and she can't really leave. So she finds out there's actually someone else in her building who has an ankle monitor too, and they hang out quite a bit, and maybe a love sparks up. But it was just okay. I don't think it was the most interesting book I've ever read. I definitely wouldn't like recommend it to anybody, but it was a quick and easy read. I probably won't remember it after this video. Sorry. My 3-star reads were Secretly Yours by Tessa Bailey. I don't actually own the book anymore. I gave away my copy to someone, and I thought this was just okay. I feel like I don't really remember a lot about it, but I remember enjoying it in the moment, so it sounds like it was good to be a 3-star. And I guess I'm actually glad that I unhauled it. Another book that will be getting unhauled is The 5-Star Weekend. I initially was excited to get this book from Book of the Month, but it was kind of boring to me. I gave it 3 stars. It wasn't like bad writing or anything. I liked the concept. So basically, the main character of this book loses her husband. She saw from some other like influencer that after a major loss, they had what's called a 5-star weekend. So you get 4 other people to go with you and be on this trip to, each of these points represents different points in your life, like different eras. So she picks someone who's like her hometown best friend, she picks someone who's like her college best friend, someone she's never met, and you kind of figure out like what happens. There's a lot of drama involved, so a lot of rich people drama. It's obviously set in Nantucket. This is where Ellen Hildebrand writes a lot of her books, but for me it was just a mediocre kind of book. 3 stars. It was a nice little summer read, but I will be unhauling this one. Another book that was just okay, Once More with Feeling by Alyssa Sussman. So this one is about a pop star who is like amazing at singing. She ends up leaving her pop star career and wants to go on Broadway. Her best friend created this Broadway show. Her kind of like crush from summer camp when she was a kid, who was also in this boy band that she was dating another member of the boy band. I don't know. It's kind of confusing, but her current crush now is directing the Broadway show, and there's some tension involved. It's kind of like a standard contemporary romance, nothing special. I love the cover of this book. I also have Funny You Should Ask. So I think I may unhaul this because it was just a 3-star, but I want to read this one first because if I'm gonna unhaul them, I would either like want to unhaul both or neither of them because the art is cute. I'm not sure. I might keep them around till like later on I decide what I want to do with them, but I'm going to be reading this one at some point in September probably. I did just get the audiobook for it, but this one was just okay. Not sure where some of my footage ran off to, but I have a couple of books that I gotta fill in some gaps here. Some of this you'll see my commentary on the Book of the Month collab that I did with Brianna, but I also read The Lies I Tell, and I gave that 3 stars. I also read When We Were Bright and Beautiful. I gave that 3 stars, 3.5 stars. Both of them were just okay. I actually ended up unhauling both of them. But if you want more deets on those 2 books, go ahead and check out that video. I'll link that in the cards up above. Also read Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney. Really enjoyed this one. I actually gave it 4.5 stars, but on Goodreads it ends up as a 4. This one is about the Darker family, and each of them ends up going missing when they go and meet up at Nana's 80th birthday party. So this one is definitely very mysterious and suspenseful, and definitely recommend reading this if you're looking for some sort of spooky vibes. Thoroughly enjoyed this. If you're interested in seeing my full thoughts and kind of like a reading vlog, this is also part of my Book of the Month collab with Brianna. So this was probably one of my favorites that I had read in that video. The last physical 4-star book that I have is The Heart Principle by Helen Hong. And this one was super cute. It was about Anna. She actually ends up getting diagnosed with autism. And Quan is like this motorcycle bad boy. Anna's boyfriend, I think his name's Adrian. I don't know. We didn't like him. He wanted to see if she was the one. So he said, hey, can we do an open relationship? And I'm gonna go basically F all these other girls to make sure you're the one. Anna was like, okay, I guess so. You didn't really ask me, you just told me this is what you're gonna do. So Anna ends up going on a date with Quan, and what do you know, they end up falling in love. But I think that Helen Hong did a really good job with her autism rep, and I hope you go back and look at my Book of the Month collab thoughts and opinions on this book, because I talked about some specific quotes in here that are really important to mental health, so definitely go check that video out if you haven't already. 2 other books that I ended up reading this month that I gave 4 stars were Ice Planet Barbarians and The Deal by Elle Kennedy. So Ice Planet Barbarians was definitely weird, but it was very interesting and I enjoyed it. It's basically like alien activities with women. And then The Deal is like a hockey romance where basically this jock falls in love with this nerd, hot nerd, I don't know. And the hot nerd's actually going for another person on the hockey team initially, but ends up like fake dating this one guy named Garrett. And she ends up just like, you know, they end up falling in love. So I really enjoyed both of those books. Then I read 2 arcs off of NetGalley. One of them was called Who Haunts You by Mark Wheaton, and it was a really quick YA horror. It basically was about these teenagers in high school who end up like dying one by one, and one of the girls is trying to figure out what's going on. She finds like some really haunting, ghostly stuff happens, and the ending kind of left me like, what happened? But overall, the book was pretty good. Definitely recommend checking it out if you're interested in a super quick, like 170 pages YA horror. Especially as we're going into spooky season really soon. And then the last 4-star book that I read was Ghosted by Sarah Reddy. It's funny because I actually was putting this book off because it was such a big book. It was actually 457 pages. I ended up listening to this on audio and it was pretty good. I thought it was going to be really close to like Dead Romantics, and while it did give off some of those vibes, it was actually very different. So you have the main character who is a journalist of some sort, or she writes like a column in a newspaper, and she moves into this new apartment and this ghost is there, Daniel. And basically they end up falling in love. He's a ghost, she's not, and then he disappears, and then she runs into him in real life, and you know, what happens? Do they end up falling in love? And you know, where's the story go? So I will say it is a paranormal romance that does have a happily ever after, and if you're looking to check this book out, it is still on NetGalley and it should be coming out towards the end of September. So I'm excited to actually order a physical copy of the book because the cover is stunning, and I just really enjoyed this book and would love to reread it again at some point. Most of you already know, but my 5-star read for the month of August was Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, or Tomorrow Times 3 by Gabrielle Zevin, and I have influenced a couple of you to read this one. So first of all, this cover is very interesting. I love how rainbow colored it is and everything, but it does give me a little bit of headache with all the double lettering. This book was fantastic. I enjoyed it so much. I know there was one particular part in the book that made me so sad. The NPC part, so it's like in 10 parts, but the part that's talking about the NPC, so sad. If you have not read this book, please go read it. There is a reason why it is on Goodreads, like top book of the year list. Like, this book needs to be read. If you enjoy reading, read this book. I hope that you will go read it. And you don't have to know anything about like video games or anything like that. Nothing, you don't have to go in knowing anything, but this book was fan-freaking-tastic. So I hope that maybe you take this recommendation and go read it. And if you ever want to see comments and opinions and thoughts from other people, not just myself, I actually have a book club on Fable where we buddy read books and then we talk about them. So you'll see some comments from other members of the book club as well as from myself as we were just reading along. So we are going to be reading more books together. Actually, the first book that we're going to be reading for September is The Last Word by Taylor Adams. So we're reading it from the 1st through the 5th of September. I don't think this video will have gone up in time for some of you to read, but you can always go back and look at the comments and stuff on previous books. Actually, a couple of these books that I read this month were part of this buddy read book club that I've created on Fable. So if you're interested in checking that out, becoming a member and seeing what we're reading, I have the link in the description below, and I hope you'll join us. Okay, and then I have, I guess, an honorable mention for this month. I don't usually do this, but I'm not sure if I will finish it tonight after I film this video, but I'm also reading The Stardust Thief by Chelsea Abdullah. I think that's how the audio actually said it. And I'm currently... I'm on like page 170 out of 463, so it's possible that I could finish this tonight. I mean, that's all that I read pretty much yesterday. And today's the last day of August. It's August 31st. So if I can finish this tonight, this might be my 16th book of the month. If not, this will be the first book I have completed in September. So honorable mention here, and this one is, as you'll see, part of the book of the month collab that I'm doing with Brianna, as well as one more other book that won't be in this video, and you'll see it in next month's video. So I'm still reading The Stardust Thief, and I got this package in the mail, and some of you may be familiar with this blue box here, book of the month. But it is actually not book of the month. I thought it was at first and I got really excited. It is actually a Pango book order. And I was like, well, book of the month usually doesn't send such a, not to say the box was wrapped crappily or anything, but it's usually not taped how this one is taped. They usually have their blue tape rather than clear tape. So to open this and show you what I got. What did I get? I got The Honey Don't List by Christina Lauren. This might be super cute to read during like Valentine's Day. I also picked up, it seems like it would be a book of the month haul because I did get some book of the month books. Hello Stranger by Catherine Center, and What You Wish For by Catherine Center. So excited to read more book of the month books and other books, but it'll be very exciting to read these ones because I also have The Bodyguard by her. So this is 3 lovely Catherine Center books, and it kind of looks like she started going with a theme here for these 2 books. But that's all I have for you guys today, and I appreciate you coming and stopping by my channel to watch this video. If you liked this content, please give it a thumbs up and share it with a buddy. Leave a comment below. Let me know which of these books that you haven't read yet that you're excited to read, or if you've already read them, did you rate them better than I did? And if you're not subscribed already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!